You've been asking for them, and at last, they're here. Some new, funky brushes. We've been working behind the scenes to try and come up with a range of new brush shapes and presets for you to be able to create better artworks faster. So let's take a look. First, we have the block and line brushes like the sharp vertical and the thin flat. With these, you can block in landscapes with ease, or you could whip up some neat calligraphy type writing. Step up your brush game by unlocking the full range of settings for these and other brush shapes to experiment with. First, hit this gear icon under your color wheel, then select the full mode. Now you can customize things like the angle, spacing, spread, and even the color dynamics. With a few tweaks, you could use this sharp vertical brush to paint out some grass, but we have a better brush for that, which we'll get to in a moment. The flat scatter, flat repeat, and flat follow all use the same brush shape as thin flat, but with different combinations of settings. These are intended to be used for full strokes, whereas a few of the other brush shapes can also be used for stamping texture in specific areas of your image. Next, we have the sketch and chalk brushes to give a little more texture to your lines as you sketch out your ideas. You can get a more chalky pastel look with these too. The chalky brushes are set in a way where they produce quite a rough mark, but if you want a denser mark, you can shift the spacing slider all the way down. With that roughness though, you can easily get a more textural blending of your colors and achieve things like a rusted look on your metal objects. Speaking of texture, build on those landscapes without textured brushes. These can make your surfaces look like more than just flat shapes of color. The rock brush gives you a simple repeating silhouette of a large and a small rock to add some variety to your landscape. If you're painting cute monsters, give them a wild coat of fur with the fuzzy brush. The broken scatter brush is a bit of an interesting one in that it's intended to be used with selections and at quite a large size. Use it to stamp some sharp, grungy texture for flat metal surfaces. For foliage, we have a combination of grassy and leafy brushes for you to quickly paint up stylized trees, bushes, and magical leaves blowing in the wind. To add more variety, more randomness, and to cover a larger area, be sure to play around with the spread, spacing, and other jitter settings. Take the grass brushes for example. While we have the dense grass preset, you can pack that grass in tighter by reducing the spacing between each stamp of the brush. Or with Leafy 3, this is a nice one for groups of leaves on the ground. For some fallen autumn leaves, let's pick a nice golden orange color. Not bad, but if we add a touch of hue jitter, that's more like it. Now we have a little mix of reddish, orange, and yellow leaves. The single leaf shape, like the others, can be great for stamping selected areas or for building up dense clumps of leaves. Adjusting the spread and spacing settings, you'll have the perfect preset for leaves blowing off in the breeze. If this is just meant as a background detail, draw it on a separate layer, and then add the Gaussian blur filter. Under Other, we have a set of different brush presets for different uses. There's the egg brush for something slightly more interesting than the regular hard round brush. With some spread and spacing added to it, we then get our scattered eggs preset. You can use this for putting down a stylized forest on the map for your next tabletop game. The checkered brush adds a block pattern to surfaces, or it can be a simple zipper on your character's jacket. Though square, with a little tweak of some spacing down to about 60%, you could even use this to add a bit of moss to your painted rocks. The hair and fur brush is for exactly that, getting down shapes of hair. First lay down a darker shape with any brush, and then switch over to this one with a lighter color to add those flowing strands of hair. The streaky one gives that loaded paint on a flat hard bristle brush look. Going from side to side, the stroke will be thinner, but up and down yields thicker strokes. You can either change the angle of the brush shape, or rotate your canvas to get those strokes in a particular direction. The rough streak is a bit more like our chalky brushes, but with a bit of a line through it as you make your marks. We hope you enjoy these new brushes and we're eager to see what you create with them.